Hello, Grace Point Church. Happy New Year. Happy 2024. I want to begin our new year with some fun Bible trivia. I'm going to give you a tough Bible trivia question. See if you can figure this out. For those of you who love trivia, you're going to be right on top of this. If you're like me and remembering Bible facts has always been very difficult, and this is going to be hard, but let's give it a go. Who am I? Which biblical character am I? Let me give you some clues. Number one, I became king when I was 16 years old, not 17, not 12, not 18, not even 21. I was 16 years old when I became king. Who am I? I honored God by fighting God's enemies. I did some good warrior stuff, and I also fed God's people. And so I took care of people who needed help. That was a good thing. God actually did some cool stuff in my life. I became so prideful. I got a big head about all the success that I was seeing. So then God had to drop me down a few notches. And the way God did that was by giving me a nasty disease called leprosy, which is like sores all over my body as a result of my pride. So who am I? I was king when I was 16. I fought some bad guys, gave some good stuff to the good guys. Then I got prideful and needed some leprosy to get me back in order. Who am I? Which biblical king am I? Who was I? You know, it's going to be very difficult for you to answer that question unless, number one, you're really good at Bible trivia and you just remember that stuff off the top of your head, or unless the other way to figure that out is by reading the book of 1st and 2nd Chronicles. Actually, 2nd Chronicles 26 is going to be really helpful for you to answer that question. Bonus points for the first person who can tell me who I am based on those clues and based on 2nd Chronicles 26. But here's the thing. I don't want to just give you Bible trivia this year. I want us to be able to dig into God's Word, and I want us to be able to read 1st and 2nd Chronicles. I know some of you are like, what is that? It sounds a lot like the Chronicles of Narnia. I'm not talking about the Chronicles of Narnia, although that's also some good reading. I'm talking about 1st and 2nd Chronicles, which are two Old Testament books. And they are filled not just with lots of really interesting trivia and details and reporting. It is filled with incredible stories of leaders and kings and their ups and downs and their successes and their failures. And the book is one big example of how God figures out how to reset his people. His people needed a reset. And so this is a story of how God accomplishes that thing. I think this is going to be a marvelous book for us this year. I think we're going to learn so much. There's going to be a lot of new stuff that we haven't checked out in a while. I'm guessing most of us aren't constantly reading through 1st and 2nd Chronicles, but we should because it's awesome. But also there's a lot of very practical applications, a lot of practical takeaways we're going to get from this series that we're going to be going through in January and February, seeing what it looks like for God to renew his people, what it looks like for God to reset his people, what are the actions that are required in order to make that happen. That's what we're going to be studying together in January and February. We're going to begin our sermon series this week on Sunday. So consider this your invitation. I hope you're able to come and join us. Prepare your heart for some good stuff. And we're going to explore together how God resets his people. I hope I see you on Sunday.